Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back. I know a lot of you guys are growing gardens and a lot of you guys want to start gardens, but what are some tools that you're going to be needing in the garden? Well, today I'm going to go ahead and go over all of the different things that I personally use in my garden and some of the things that you absolutely have to have in your garden in order to get started. Come with me. Let's get started. First and foremost, you're going to definitely need a nice handy shovel. You don't have to get a shovel that's like this, but you do need a very sturdy shovel so that way you can go ahead and do some digging whenever you have to. Or if you're going to be shoveling dirt from one spot to the next and you need to make sure that you're doing it in a more efficient manner, you definitely want to get yourself a nice handy shovel. Now, speaking of hauling dirt, you're going to need a wheelbarrow. Wheelbarrows definitely come in handy when you have to take those bags of mulch or those bags of soil from the vehicle all the way back to the backyard where you're keeping your plants. Wheelbarrow definitely comes in handy, especially for also mixing things. When you have to mix your soil, it's a good way for you to have a good amount of space to mix things up. I also use it as a rain catcher, believe it or not. Whenever it starts raining, I put my wheelbarrow out and I catch the rain and I use some of that rainwater to water my plant. Another thing you're going to need in your garden. Now, this is not mandatory, I wouldn't say, but it is something that's very useful. I use it on a regular basis. This is called a soil reaper or soil plunger. What it does is when you get it in the dirt, you can see the claws on this thing. See that? When you get it in the dirt and you push it in, you twist, it aerates the soil, it loosens up the soil so that way you can get your, especially when you're doing mixtures, if you're trying to add more soil to your existing soil, this thing helps out a lot to get everything mixed up together very well. So a soil reaper is not exactly necessary, but it is something that's very helpful. What else we got here? Definitely you're going to need a hand trowel because when you're definitely putting your plants down, you want to make sure that you have something to dig. This is very handy, just for things here and there that you're going to be using in your garden. So definitely a hand trowel. This is not mandatory, but this is something that I find useful. It's a little hand rake. When you're going to be planting certain things and you want to kind of loosen up the soil in one little area, you don't want to bring out that big monster over there. You can use this little hand rake to loosen up the soil before you start using your trowel to move the dirt around so that way you can plant your plants. So these things are very, very useful. Never underestimate the power of a pair of gloves, all right? Because some of the things that we're going to be doing in the garden can get pretty messy. So sometimes a pair of gloves definitely comes in handy. From things like when you're cleaning your sugar cane, you have, those little spikes that's on there. When you're handling certain fruits, certain vegetables that have little spikes, pair of gloves always comes in handy. You're going to definitely need a pair of shears. I use these to kind of like keep certain plants and certain hedges down. So like, for example, whenever I'm trimming my citrus or I'm trying to trim down some of this pear tree, I use these pairs of shears. They definitely come in handy. All these things that I'm mentioning, you don't have to buy them brand new. Just remember that. You don't have to go to the store and get them brand new. You can go to a pawn shop. You can go to your local Goodwill or your local Salvation Army. They do have these things in there, so you can actually get all this stuff really, really cheap. You might not find them all in one place, but if you look around, you'll find these things very, very inexpensive. So these definitely come in handy. I do keep my trees nice and pruned. These pairs of loppers come in handy, especially when you have those thicker branches that you're trying to eliminate to kind of get a tree to form properly. These things come in handy, and you can also find these in like a pawn shop, Salvation Army, or Goodwill, or places like that as well. Another thing that really comes in handy in your garden, now again, not mandatory but definitely helpful, is a metal rake. This metal rake, when you're using this thing, I use it a lot to kind of like level out the dirt. Whenever I'm actually stacking more dirt into certain areas, I use it to kind of like level out the dirt and keep everything nice and leveled. And I also use it to, whenever I'm cleaning certain areas that have a lot of weeds, this thing definitely get these weeds, because I do have some weed that starts growing in the corners. This thing definitely gets them out. So I would definitely recommend one of these, but it's not mandatory. But if you find one of these metal rake at your pawn shops or your local Salvation Army, definitely grab one, all right? It's gonna come in useful in your garden. You're also going to just need a good old, just regular rake, because like, for example, you see that tree right there behind me? That's my avocado tree. I have a couple of them in there. There's one that's very small, that's on the right, and then the one on the left is the bigger one, right? Now, one thing that avocado does, when it's blooming, it loses all its leaf after it blooms. So right now, all you see is nothing but flowers on this thing. All the leaves are right now all over the ground, and guess what? I'm going to have to put this thing to use this evening so that way I can get them up. So you definitely want to get yourself a rake. This is something that I use on a regular basis. I keep it on me whenever I'm in the yard doing anything. This is a hori hori, okay? And the cool thing about this hori hori is it's a multi-tool all-in-one. So you have a bladed side, you have a serrated side, you also have something that you can use as a hook or something to maybe open up a can or something like that. You also have measurements on here, so you can see whenever something in the seed packet say, hey, go ahead and put it down in the ground about a 1/2 inch. You can actually get your 1/2 inch on this hori hori, so you can kind of measure it all out. So this hori hori comes in handy. It's not mandatory, but this is something I would say, if you can find one, absolutely get one. You can actually find them on different places like Let Go or eBay or wherever else, because these, I would say this comes in handy. Another thing I always have with me is my grafting knife. Now, my grafting knife is specifically for my grafting because I carry a regular pocket knife with me all over the garden to just make different cuts, you know, cleaning things up. But I keep this grafting knife because sometimes a graft can just happen at any moment. So I always keep my grafting knife on me. Other than that, I would say one of the most important things that I would say to have in your arsenal is a bottle to keep cold water in, because during the summer months when you're working in these gardens, it can get pretty warm out there. So I would say definitely continue to stay hydrated. Make sure you keep yourself a nice bottle of cool water with you whenever you're working in your yard. But other than that, these are some of the things that you would absolutely get away with having in your yard to start your journey in gardening. I use a lot other things, but I just wanted to show you guys the basics of some of the things that you're going to absolutely use in your yard. So stick around. You're going to be seeing me using these things in the yard anyway, so just stick around, and I kind of refer to them here and there whenever I'm using them, so you guys can remember what we talked about here in this specific video. So guys, if you learned something, go ahead and hit that like button. If you want to continue for me to bring you these contents, go ahead and subscribe and give me some ideas, guys. What are some things that you use in your garden that I did not mention here that you would say is extremely important, or something that you might want to just go ahead and splurge on if you can? Go ahead and leave me a comment in the comment section, and I will see you guys later.